Mayer seems like a more obvious fit because he's done more of that sort of thing. And like, well, he did the thing with Marin at the Grammys.
Yeah, I mean,
that was, I'm not that you're compared to Mayer. I'm just saying he did a collaboration with somebody who has music who could be categorized in the same backyard as you.
The thing with Mayer, I love it. That's perfect. The thing with Mayer that really inspires me is he's found a way to fuse the worlds of blues with contemporary pop with, with still being him and his like beautiful artistry of like being a songwriter and writing real great songs. And that's just so inspiring to me. Like my favorite artists are the ones that it's not necessarily the way you do one thing, because we're all going to find people who can sing better, who can play better, who can dance better, who can do whatever, the thing better than us. But it's like the mosaic of the puzzle that goes together that makes it truly unique. And when I've been to so many Mayer tours and stuff, and when I see him play a show, it's just like, wow, there's no one like him because he is truly himself. And so that's why I'm just so inspired by like a lot of what he does, because he finds the way to fuse worlds together while it's still being truly him.
And he's also like, so he's what I would consider like a half generation above you and I.
Yeah.
And he was like kind of that ambassador for the guitar.
Agreed.
And still is.
Yeah. When there wasn't a lot of ambassadors.
Yeah.
There
was like a lot of the acoustic.
Yes.
The acoustic singer-songwriter thing, where it was like there was a period where it seemed like the best thing in the world was if you were a singer-songwriter with a guitar, with an acoustic guitar, and then it quickly became like the worst thing.
Totally.
Like, right now, there are maybe 4 years ago, it's like we don't want a guy on an acoustic guitar.
We have too many of those. Yeah.
And now maybe it's coming back around. Like it could surfacing him, and not nearly the way that it was. And in the same way of we have enough hair glam bands at one era.
100%. Like, yes.
We hit our limit on grunge. We got it.
Yeah.
Moving on or whatever. But Mayer transcended that. Actually, I was a teenager, I was into Mayer. The time that I knew I should dump some stock into Mayer, or to get some shares of Mayer in my portfolio, was right after, I think Daughters was a hit, and his next tour, if I remember right, was the Trio tour.
God bless,
like,
yes.
Dang, that's gangster. Woo! This guy comes out and just does the Trio
this, like,
blues
massive
thing.
Pop song. Yeah. And then, he's playing like, I Don't Need No Doctor with Pino and Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, that was... You recorded one of his albums, though. You like recreated in Continuum, right?
Yes, which, Cory, I never thought that thing was going to see the light of day. So this is, 4 years ago now. I was working with a guy by the name of Christian Bush, who is one half of Sugarland, the duo Sugarland.
Okay.
And Christian's from the Atlanta scene and is just like super creative, muso, magic human being. And as a producer, he just is like the perfect person to help like unlock different parts of your creative brain. And before we went in to record my first album, The Project, I was just sort of in one of those identity crisis moments that we all go through as artists, being like, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it? How am I going to do this thing that I supposedly call a career? And I was just trying to navigate through all of that. And Christian was like, Lindsay, what's your favorite record? Like, if you could be stranded on a desert island right now with only one record, what would that be? And I was like, Continuum. Like, I just love every song on that. I could sing you the guitar solos on it right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, perfect. I want you to go record the whole thing. You have 2 weeks, play every single instrument. You sit in your I had a little studio, like hole in the wall office at the label at the time. And he's like, you go sit in your room. You have 2 weeks. I want it done. Turn it into me. Go. And at the time I was like, okay, I know this record front to back. Fine. This will be easy. And it was not easy, clearly. But I learned so much because although I knew that record, it's different. It's different being able to sing a guitar solo and then being able to play it. And try to pay homage to what he did, but still put my stance on it. And at that time, 4 or 5 years ago, I had just kind of gotten into studio world. And now I'm like far more of a track nerd. So I listened to that thing and I was like, oh my goodness, what were you doing back then? But it was more just an experiment for me to understand why I loved that record so much. It was brilliant looking back. And drums are the only instrument I don't play. And so learning how to program Steve Jordan, like, good luck with that. But I spent so much time, like, programming all of those and playing all the instruments. And then I turned it into Christian. And I was like, thank you so much. Like, I have learned so much from this homework assignment. I'm ready to go record my record. So it sat on a hard drive in my studio, and that was going to be its purpose. Like, I was never going to release it. Then we released my first album, and in these interviews, I'm talking about the process of how we went through it, and fans started asking about it. They're like, we want to hear this, we want to hear this, we want to hear this. And I'm just like, what have I done to myself? And so the label's like, why don't we just release it as just like a sidebar thing?
Yeah.
And Christian was like, okay, but we can't release it the exact way you turned it in, because I recreated the record. So he was like, why don't we mute the drums and just make it like a cool, organic kind of thing? And I was like, are you kidding me? All of the blood, sweat, and tears I went into like making that version of Continuum, but it ended up being the right call. And I got to release a version of a record that really has inspired me in so many ways.
Yeah.
And so now,
that's cool.
Yeah, now I listen to it and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I would do so many things different. But I'd never had intentionally thought that I was going to release it, you know?
Yeah.